Picture a highway, 700 kilometers long, cutting through the forests of British Columbia. No cell service, no towns for hours, just trees, mountains, and darkness. Now picture a young woman standing at the side of that road. No car, no money for a bus ticket. She just needs to get home. So she does what people in rural Canada have done for generations. She sticks out her thumb. For some women, that ride never ended. And for decades, Canada just let it happen. Highway 16 in British Columbia is one of the longest highways in Canada. It stretches from Prince Rupert on the Pacific coast all the way east, passing through towns like Terrace, Smithers, Vanderhoof, and Prince George. This highway isn't just a road, it's a lifeline. But bus service is limited. Taxis are expensive or non-existent. For many, hitchhiking isn't a choice. It's just how you get somewhere, and someone knew that. The disappearances started being documented as early as 1969, but alarms were raised long before. Communities had been raising alarms. Women were vanishing, and the response from police was, at best, slow, at worst, dismissive. The RCMP acknowledges 18 cases, but community organizations put that number much higher, above 43. Why the gap? Nobody was counting. Roughly 75% of the victims are Indigenous women and girls. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern they've been screaming about, and mostly, nobody listened. This is the story of the Highway of Tears. What happened, why it was ignored, and why it isn't fully solved. Before we go further, if you've never heard of this, that's not your fault. Stick with me because this might be the most important part of all. Let's talk about the individual cases, because behind every statistic is a real woman with a real family still waiting for answers. Ramona Wilson, 16, from the Wet'suwet'en Nation. She disappeared in June 1994 while trying to get to a graduation. Her remains were found 10 months later. Lana Derrick, 19, from Stony Creek First Nation. She disappeared in October 1995. She has never been found. Her family is still waiting. Nicole Hoar, 25, a tree planter who was hitchhiking to visit her sister. She vanished in 2002. Her case received significantly more media coverage. That disparity has a name: missing white woman syndrome. The phenomenon where missing white women receive disproportionate attention. It played out here for decades. So what was being done? Officially, very little. Police jurisdictions were fragmented. RCMP, municipal forces, and band constables didn't always communicate. Families were sometimes told she probably ran away or was living on the streets. Indigenous women were not treated with the same urgency as other Canadians. It wasn't until 2005, after decades of pressure, that the RCMP launched Project E-PANA. They reviewed hundreds of cases and conducted thousands of interviews. Some DNA evidence was gathered, but the investigation moved slowly, and convictions remain extremely rare. Answers are still out of reach for most. In 2006, a symposium was held, organized by Indigenous community members. They produced a report with 33 recommendations. Better transportation, public safety, resources. Many of those recommendations were not implemented. The calls for safety were heard, but the systemic response remained stagnant for years. In 2016, Canada launched the National Inquiry, a 3-year, $92 million federal investigation. In 2019, it released its final report. The conclusion was stark. The conclusion: what happened to Indigenous women and girls in Canada constitutes genocide. Not neglect, not systemic failure. Genocide. Let that word breathe. The inquiry made 231 individual calls for justice. As of today, implementation has been deeply uneven. Families are still waiting. Cases remain unsolved. I want to pause here. Did you learn about the Highway of Tears in school? Or is this the first you're hearing about it? Your answer says a lot. Here's what makes this different. There is no single suspect. Investigators believe there may be multiple perpetrators, some opportunistic, others predatory and planned. Bobby Jack Fowler, an American drifter, was identified through DNA for the 1974 murder of Colleen McMillan. He died in prison before facing charges in Canada. Not enough. The deeper problem isn't just who did this. It's the conditions that allowed it. Poverty, a colonial legacy, systemic racism that made Indigenous lives seem less worthy of protection. The Highway of Tears isn't just a true crime story. It's a case study in what happens when a country decides, consciously or not, that some lives matter less. Organizations continue to do the work governments have failed to do. Documenting cases, supporting families, and keeping these women's names alive. Their names are Ramona, Lana, Alberta, Delphine, Tamara, Roxanne, Nicole, Ayla, and so many more. They were daughters, sisters, mothers, and friends. They deserve to get home safe. If this video taught you something, hit subscribe, share this, leave a comment. I'll see you in the next video.